Hi, in our previous video, we have published our Angular project on GitHub pages. And now we are able to serve any changes which we are doing locally. We can showcase the same changes over the internet using the GitHub pages. So just to give you a quick brief, what we have discussed in our last video, basically portfolio building we are going to do using the projects and while learning specific topics. And usually it's become difficult when you are not well aware of in which direction you need to move. So usually you get stuck in a loop, like you are first trying to achieve certain things, then you stuck, then you go and learn. So at times you find it difficult. So I'll be showcasing one by one. So you can see our project is posted over here in the expense tracker, and the project which we have with us is over here, and we are going to move further. So what we are going to do, we need to clean the boilerplate code. The reason for this is that when the Angular ng command creates certain things, so a specific boilerplate code is being created. So let's just remove that. And what we are going to do, we are going to remove everything from the app HTML. So we are going to go to the source within the app, and there is a app.html. So you can see it already says the content below is only a placeholder and can be replaced. And till here, we are going to remove everything. And I'll be quickly telling you what the router outlet is. So let's just quickly remove everything. Give me a minute. So let's, so you can see the router or outlet, we are still letting this remain because this is something within which our whole application is going to get rendered. Because if you quickly see, we have an app root, and if we navigate to the app root, this app.html is getting served, and router outlet will serve all the other nested components inside that. So we'll be discussing this further. So with this being set up, we also need to clean app.ts. Let's just go to the app.ts. One thing which we have seen when we were created our project using Angular v21, so a signal was created for the title. So let's just remove that. And even the signal usage from this app.ts, I have removed that as well. So we have removed that. So you can see the code should be like something like this. And you can see there is no signal over here. We have decided to create an expense tracker. I'll be quickly showcasing you how it is going to work. But what we are going to do, we are going to create a folder models, and inside that we are going to create a model file. So let's just go and create a models folder. We are going to call it models. And what we are going to say this, the file is going to be expense.model.ts. Let's just click over here, new file, expense.model.ts. So model ts file is here, and you can see they're like export type category, and there is an export interface and a budget. So let me just copy this. So I have copied this code. So you can see within our model, we have created a type for category. So this can contain either food, transport, shopping, and bills, and etc. So this is a pipe separated, I would say a type. And then we have an export interface for like expense, and then we have an export interface for budget. So we'll be discussing each and every in detail. So with this being created, let's just move forward. So as I just mentioned, it just defines like how the budget is going to look like and how this categories are going to look like. The reason to create these interfaces is that TypeScript will catch any mistakes if we do any mistake within the code. So TypeScript is allowing us to stay type safe. Then there comes a thing which we need to notice, this category. So you can see a pipe separated things have been used. So we could have used enum as well, but we have used this unit union type category. So I'll be discussing in detail what is this union type and why it's beneficial and compared to the enum. So it means the category field on an expense can only be one of these seven strings. So any of these can be there. So if we somewhere write something else, so it will be marked as an error. And expense you can see is the shape of expense. This is an interface and the budget itself is an interface. But there is one more concept within the budget, and that are like spent and percentage are here even though they are calculated. So apart from signals, we will be discussing what computed are. So computed signals, what they are and how they are different from the signals. So with this thing, so now comes to the actual point. Like you can see here in category, we have used union type instead of enum. So we could have used enum something like this, export enum category. But the reason is that if we have done that, so union type itself, when the like project is compiled from the TypeScript to JavaScript, as you might know that TypeScript projects are being compiled into the JavaScript and then they are being run in the browser. So this TypeScript code stays here and it is just to make sure that our project and the whole coding is type safe and we do not land into any problems or any errors. So once we compile, or you can say transpile it, so what does it do? It removes certain codes. So what actually happens, like union time is erased at compile time. When a Java, when Angular compiles it into Java, it altogether remove the union type. But the for enum, the actual JS code is being created. We will be discussing in detail in the next slides. But an usage is in template is like food. If we just have food, so it could be used similar like to the food. But if we need to use it using enum, the category dot food needs to be used somewhat in a similar way. The comparison is done that way. Refactoring effort for union time is low, and for enum it's like medium. And Angular community is preferring this union type instead of this enum. And what does erased at compiled mean? So this is one thing. So we need to know, as I already mentioned, like when transcript compiles your union type to JavaScript, it altogether disappears. So, and what actually happens, like if we, let me just first quickly show you, you can see we have category when we have an expense, and then we try to define a variable for expense or object for the expense. So what actually happens when this code is being compiled, only this actual value will survive. Like let my expense is equal to this, and what actually happens, category type will be gone, all seven value will be vanished because only one is being used, and that is groceries, or sorry, cat food. And the second thing is that the expense interface also is gone because this is there to just make sure there is no error within the TypeScript itself. So this is the reason it actually happens. And if we have used enum, so how would it have been translated from TypeScript to JavaScript? You can see the code on the left side is for enum, and on the right, we might be getting this in terms of JavaScript. So which eventually increases the size of the JavaScript file, as well as there is no need for this to be used. So with this being done, hopefully it's been clear. And as we move forward, I'll be explaining more things in detail. Then we need to create, apart from model, so we do have our model, the type is there, the interface for expense is there. Now what we need to have a data, because let me just create it within the app and I'll be quickly telling you. So we do not have any database connected as of yet, and we do not have any APIs. So we need to seed our data. So our data will be coming from a data file. So let's just create a expense.data.ts. So let's just create a new file, expenses.data.ts file. So you can see expenses.data.ts file is there. So let me again copy this code rather than typing. So you can see that I have copied the data. So let me just quickly explain it. We are exporting the expense. Expense is just the interface type. This is to make sure like the proper type have been used. So we have imported it over there. Let me just save it. And then what we have did we have an array of expense called seed expenses. Basically, there are like multiple rows of data, around 7 rows, and each entry is related to a specific category. And then we have also set a record of a string and number. What it does it do? It is a constant. And using this record, we are going to imply or impose certain limits or budgets on a specific category. We'll be discussing this in detail in coming videos. So with this being done, let's just create a new folder, features. And what now comes the main part, because when we have created our application, let me just create the folder first and then I'll be showcasing it to you. So features, and within the features, we need to have a dashboard. So what I've done, I've created a features folder, and within that there is a dashboard folder. So you might have noticed when we have created our application, app.html was created and the router layout have been used. So now what we are going to do within this dashboard, we are going to create dashboard component. So we are going to create two files. One is going to be dashboard.ts and second is going to be dashboard.html. So let's just within that feature, let me just click the new file and I'm going to call it dashboard.ts and again dashboard.html. So we have two files, both are blank. So let's just read it one by one. So you can see we have used like multiple imports. One is for component, the signal and the computed. Signal is going to be used in the HTML. I'll be quickly showcasing you, and the computed is also used in the below code as well. And common modules are there, like certain forms module which we are going to use, and expense, budget, and category. You might have seen that within the model we have used that, and on a somewhat similar line, seed expense and the seed limits are there. This is the data we are going to use. So these are the imports. So just to quickly add, like form modules is needed for the ng model which we are going to use for the template. And you can see one more thing which we have used is like decimal pipe, and this helps us in setting a number in a format like 3500 should be rendered or formatted as 3,500. So with this being done, let's just move to the next part. This one is somewhat explicit thing, so I will be skipping this, only a component being mentioned, and export class for the dashboard component is created. Then comes the actual signals which we were discussing and which is the prime objective of our discussion. So you can see we have created an expense, and what we call this signal of an expense array. So signal of an expense array, and inside that what we have provided the seed expense. So let me just quickly tell you, like what does it hold? It's hold a full list of expenses, all the 7 expenses. If I can quickly show you here, not this, yeah, this one. So all these seed expenses, 7 objects or 7 rows, you can say. So these are there, And when the user add a new expense, because we have provided a way to add a new expense, this signal, what does it do? It updates, and everything which have been like derived from this get recalculated, and you can see when I'll be showcasing it on a visual way. So everything will be updated accordingly. Then comes the selected category, and before that there was a limits. So limit is again somewhat a similar signal, using record of a string and number. If limits have been updated somehow and someone have modified the limit, it will be like again recalculated. So with the moving further, selected category, again it will be tracking and allowing the user to select a specific category, and by default all will be selected. So what actually happens, when user click any other category, whole dashboard will be reevaluated and refreshed with the new values. We will be seeing it in the videos in the coming slides. Then come the new title, new amount, and new. So what are these? These are to hold the form values. Like each input is the template to bound to one of these. So all these like new, if I'm going to add a new title, amount, and category, so these signals belongs to that. But you can see there are no normal literals or variables or normal strings. These are all signals being used. So, and you will see the like benefit of signal in a quick go. This is just a single TS file we have created so far. Okay, so then we have, once we have the source signals, then we have the computed signals. And as we have discussed, like what does computed mean? Computed is basically, you can think like it's on top of a signal or derived from a signal, using which we can compute anything. Let's say, let me just quickly explain this to you. So you can see this month expense, and what it is, it's a computed, and within that, what's there? You can see a new date is being like created, and this dot expenses dot filter have been used. So if I go to the expenses, so you can see expenses itself is a signal. So if there is a change, or like if there any change occurs within the expense, this signal is also get going to get recomputed as well. But at this point of time, focus on this, just trying to absorb what this computed is. A new date is being created, which gives you us a simple date like this. And what does the slicing mean? Like a date being sliced to like 7 index means only we are only going to get the month. Then what actually happens, it's going to filter out using the date. So all the expenses being done within this month is going to get like computed and being provided within this month expenses. Let's just move to the spend category. So again, the spend category is again a computed one. And what does it do? It loops through this month's expense, and the result is going to be look like food is this much, transport is this much. And there is one more thing you will be seeing, like double pipe zero. So it means like or, in a sense, if there is no value, so it will use zero. So with this being done, the result will be like proper value instead of getting a not null value. So this being done, spend by category. Suppose that we have a budget, and how the budget is calculated, you can see the budget is again a computed, but it's taking a sort of like array of budget objects. And if there is anything wrong inside that, it will uh, um, provide us an error. And you can see the this dot limits is your signal. So if I can quickly show you, like this is again our signal, and on top of this we are creating a new computed uh, signal. So what it's going to do, it's going to convert this object entries, convert the object into array of pairs. So instead of like working with the object, we are going to have an array, and we can use the map on that. So you can see uh, over here, so a map have been used. And if I further explain this, so what actually happens, map category limit loops over each pair, which one pair, the category and its limit. And then comes this dot spend category, which you reads your previous computed signal. So if I quickly show you, so this dot spend by category itself is again a computed signal. So what actually happens, it's iterating over that signal. So it do have the food and this, then comes the this dot spend by category, and inside that a specific category is being provided. So it will look up for a specific category because this budget is as per this category. So if the food is there, it will return 5,700 and so on. So with this spend by category, first what we have done, if I can quickly show you, first we have created the this month expense, then we have created the expense by category, and then we have computed the budget. So based on this, if I can quickly show you, we have something like a status over here as well. What is actually happening, it's iterating over that those limits and the spending, and based on that it's trying to calculate a percentage where math.min is being used and spent upon limit is being calculated. And then based on that, if that spend limit is uh, more than or I would say the percentage is over um, 80, so it's come up with over. And if the limit itself is like 8.8%, so it shows a warning, and if it's below that, it shows less. So if let me just actually show you the calculation. So you can see this calculates how the full progress bar, which we are going to show in the upcoming slides, that it's going to calculate a specific bar and the limit. And what the math.min is doing over here, let's say if someone brings up 15,000, like spend 15,000 instead of 12,000, which is the limit. So instead of going the bar over the 100% mark, it will be like restricting this. So, and one more thing, this is itself is a ternary uh, action. So what you can see over here, like if the spend is greater than limit, let's say the limit is 100. So spend is more than 100, so it will be say it's over. And if it's less than 80%, what we are trying to achieve over here by multiplying it with 0.8. So if it's greater than 0.8, so it's a warning, like it's post 80% and less than 100, so it's a warning because you are about to reach 100%. And if you are below 80%, it's safe. So with this being done, so this build one like budget object per category. Now comes the main part, which we are going to discuss. So as in this project, while building our portfolio, we are discussing about two things, a signal and then a computed signal as well. So computed is a basically is a signal derived and not a signal itself. What actually does it mean? So a computed value returns signal and return a derived value. So it reruns it automatically when its signal dependencies change. So basically it's again dependent on a signal. So let's just compare. Signal holds a state, but the computer do not hold a state. Signals are writable. We can set any value within the signals, but within the computed, we can't set. It's being recalculated based on how we have like created those. It's reactive. Again, signal and computed both are reactive when any action happens. So it reacts to those. And automatic updates are only on computed because underlying signal changes and the computed changes automatically. But signals are being changed subject to any user intervention or action. So now comes the totals part. So if I quickly go to this. So you can see the totals themselves are computed. So there are like three summary cards which we are going to show, like total budget, total spend, and remaining. And what we are trying to use, we are trying to use reduce, a function which collapses an array to a single value. So what it's taking, like it's taking two argument. So if let's say for this range, you can see like an array of limits being provided to it. So what does it do? It's try iterating all the values, like within all the iteration. So it starts with 0, then it comes to 3500, then 800, and it's keep on adding till the final result is being achieved. So this is how this reduce is going to function. And then comes the actual filtered expenses. So let's just move below. This drive the expense list at the bottom of the page. When the user click a filter pill, so we are going to showcase certain filter pills like all or food or this and that. If a user clicked or respond to that, it will be updating that to the respective to that category. So you can see category is either going to be selected or it is going to return all or not. So you can see the ternary operator being used and two signals have been used, and if like a new food or sample something else being added, so it is going to update accordingly. Then comes a method. What method? Over here again we have added an add expense method. What does it do? It's taking a title and an amount, and if both are like null or empty, it returns. And if anything is there, so what it's going to use, basically this dot expenses, which itself is a signal, is getting updated based on the previous value. And you can see a spread operator is being used over here with this three dots. Like you can see array cannot uh, add something to without knowing. So what's being used, the spread operator, it unpacks all existing expenses into the new array. So you can see the reason we are using this uh, spread array or spread operator is that when we use this, so what does it do? It returns a whole new array, and this is how signals are going to work. So signal requires you to replace the value with a new reference. If you yourself push it to the existing array, it's not going to work. So for your signals to work properly, you need to update the reference of that array. So this is the reason this is spread operator have been used, and in that a new entry is being added. With this being said, let's just move further. There is set category as well. So let's, and this is very simple method. It's just going to set a set category, and you can see again this is a computed signal as well. So let's just move further. So I have copied the code, and without like going into detail of this, let's just try running this first. So let me just use npm start, and I want to give you a feel of the project rather than just okay. So we have created our dashboard, and we have our like app component, but there is one more thing that needs to be configured, and this is routing. So within like version 21, apps.route.ts is there, and we need to update our routes from this to this. So let's just import the remaining thing. So we need to import dashboard component. So we have imported the dashboard component, and within these routes, what we need to add like routes. So let's just add a path for that, and so for an empty path, what we are going to do, we are going to redirect to dashboard. And paths match is going to be like full. And for the second thing, when we have dashboard, so where we are sending it, we are sending it to the dashboard. So let's just like try saving it. Let's just try rerunning again. So I have pasted the whole HTML code. Uh, Before looking into this, I'll be quickly showcasing you. So you can see the total budgets being used over here. The spend is here, remaining is here, and you can see the monthly budgets which have been pulled from the server. So out of this 12,000 for food, 5,700 have been used. So let's just try adding a new expense. Let's just add an expense of food of on 4,000. So let's just add it's like I would say milk, and I will call this 4,000 have been like spent on this. Let's just add. So you can see what actually happens. A food, it becomes 80% of the budget used. And if I add one more thing, like I would say chips, and for that, let's just add 1,000 and see what actually happens. Let me add one something more, chocolates. Let me just add 1,000 more. I should have done peanuts. So it should be read by now. So budget have already been exceeded. So you can see 12,700 being used out of this. And this expense is getting added and specific bills needs to be added. Let me just quickly see. I think I've missed that. Okay. So you can see I have added some further HTML, which we'll be looking right in a while. So expenses being added, and I can quickly filter out. So let's just try filtering for food and then for transport. So you can see everything is like getting changed over here. So let's just see no expenses for other, all are there. Entertainment is this one much, and for bills it's shifting. So with this, these you can see these computational uh, bills are getting updated on using this. So I will now quickly see the code. What I've tried to use, I've used a div-based structure, and all the styles are inline styles. Later, we'll be moving to the tailwind, but just to keep our portfolio a bit better. So what I've used some styling. I won't be going in much detail. So over here, but you can see the divs have been used, the budget have been used, a specific total spend, and the remaining being used. Then comes the budget bar. So a for loop have been used, and multiple div, a nested div have been used, and a specific limits are getting updated, and styling have been updated. So with this being done, let's just try doing one thing. Let's just try build, building it. So I am going to build this again. So you can see again the browser folder is created. We need to use those copy commands. So let's just copy. And what else we need to remove? Let's just try adding. So rather than doing this way, let's just use this. Let me just use commit. Let me just call this addition of dashboard. Now let's just do commit and push. So all are going to be staged. Let's see what happens. The reason is to build the portfolio along with the way you are moving. So let's just see if this have been updated or not. Not yet. So let's try looking at if something have been pulled, a specific source is there and docs are there. So let's just try opening it in incognito. So let's just try, and nothing is being pushed here. So let's me see if something have been missed or not. So you can see over here in the expense tracker, uh, you can use or see this URL publicly, not this point. For some reason, it's just moved. Let me just try using. So you can see when I'm using, for some reason, it's not refreshing, but we'll see to that later. But just for your sake, once you hit expense tracker, it goes to the dashboard and it renders all the things. Now, if you are building anything, so you can quickly showcase it to someone, and we will be improvising on this specific expense tracker day by day. So the reason is that while we have learned the signals and computed today, we are able to at least push our changes to the GitHub. And with this being done, you can at least showcase that certain things. Let me just stop this. So with these changes, you can at least showcase that you have pushed something on the GitHub as well. You are able to showcase that as well. And with any minimal changes that you are going to perform at your local server, you can easily and quickly push it onto the server. So I am very confident that you are going to build a portfolio quickly on your own. And one thing I'm going to suggest you, if you are new, so focus on Angular only. Don't try to use any APIs or any database, because the thing is that it will overcomplicate. You might not be getting any free database tier, or might not be able to host your APIs. So at this point of time, only focus on Angular. I'll be improvising it, and day by day, and with upcoming videos, I'll be showcasing you how to add a database, how to add authentication, how to add uh, like any APIs being created. So we will be looking at those things. So if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and do share with your circle. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day and happy building your portfolio. Bye.